that's sort of, I mean, we have all had our, there's dead horses in his path that we've all kicked him and kicking since, that first draft, and that's not a hindsight thing. That me and everyone else was all over that. You say, what in the world did they do? They didn't get enough back in return. They passed on these players, and then these players became great players. He just was never able to live that down, and unfortunately, his draft misses just kept consistently happening. And then you ask your owners to pay $348 million to plug a bunch of holes that shouldn't need to be plugged. Defensive line, cornerback, different positions like that. I mean, you look at what they did at corner in their first 2 years. One's a second round pick in the first year. Then the next year there's first year I was a second or fourth round. Second year's the third round. Those guys aren't on your team, so you're having to go out and scramble and do this and that. The numbers that I had with the Packers and the Lions, at that point when I asked that question, it was, the Vikings had 2 guys left from that 3 to 5 year window, 4 guys, and 2 were starters. The Packers had 18 and 12. The Lions had 13 and 11. 11 of those were first team all pros. So, they're losing ground. It's going to take a while to recover from this. And, he just could not be anywhere near another draft.
You wrote a piece after the news came out and amplifying KOC's comments that there might not have been enough depth on the team. Go ahead, talk about that.
Well, yeah, it was just his, at the time, he said, I guess you're always, being doing this as long as I have, you're sort of surprised when they tell the truth, or whenever they, tap dance and their tap dance is actually telling a truth. It was like, he said it's simple. It's it's depth. It's whenever you have to is the next man up truly your next man up that's been in your organization for years, or is he next man up because you just had to go out and get him? And that's what they were repeatedly having to do. Center, a huge mistake this year was Ryan Kelly. And we can say, okay, Kevin, when it comes to like assembling talent, it's good to have a guy that builds consensus, and he will accept the fact that he doesn't know as much as KO on offense, and he doesn't know as much as Flores on defense. So Flores can go out and like say, hey, we need to get Van Ginkel, we need to get Grenard, and O'Connell will say, he makes the JJ decision. But where you come along, they can't be full-time GM, full-time scouts. They have a job to do themselves. So whenever Kwesi is like, working the other stuff, like, I don't think that O'Connell was beating the drum on, he might've been beating the drum on JJ given where they were in the draft,